Welcome back, boys. In this video, I'm going to break down how to actually hold a masculine frame in business and in relationships. Because the truth is, there's a lot of guys out there with a lot of muscle, maybe even a lot of money, and yet they still don't have this masculine frame about themselves. And so it leads them to being taken advantage of in relationships and business negotiations. And it's all because their frame is weak. So let's get right into it. So the first thing you must understand about having a masculine frame is that it's not something that you just turn on and off whenever you want, right? It's actually instilled in your character, right? Because you want to have the most congruency between every single version of you. The version of you when speaking to your superior, maybe at work, the version of you that talks to your wife, the version of you that talks to your friends, the version of you that talks to your family. You should have congruency in between all of those versions, right? You should have a masculine frame within all of those interactions. So the first thing that you must realize is that your frame is going to start before you even speak. So whether you like it or not, people will judge you off first impression, right? The way that you present yourself, people are going to judge you off that right off the bat, right? So if you're out of shape, if your clothes don't fit well, if you have a face full of acne, if you smell bad, if you carry yourself with like low self-respect, you have weak body language, a weak posture, you got your head down, you have a weak handshake, your frame won't save you because whatever people interpret you to be in the first place of that first interaction, subconsciously, they're going to think that's who you are. So you have to make a positive first impression. Dress well. Make sure you're in great shape. If you don't have a haircut, make sure you at least groomed your hair, right? Make sure you put on some cologne, take a shower, and actually carry yourself with self-respect. You teach people how to treat you based on how you treat yourself. So if you have no self-respect, it's literally gonna reek to others. I made a video on this talking about why self-respect is the biggest indicator of success. And it's so true because when you see someone who's out of shape, they don't dress nice, they kind of just throw on whatever, they don't take care of themselves, they're always late, they never keep their word. That's someone who has obvious low self-respect. And so even if you're the nicest, most respectful person in the world, you're still gonna treat that person with less respect than you would treat somebody who is in great shape, that carries themselves well, that is still kind and respectful, but he holds himself to a higher standard. Don't be upset if everyone is treating you with disrespect because it could just be an internal issue. Now, if you're in the position of actually building up your masculine frame, it's not easy, but it's very simple to do so, right? And so right here, I have a protocol that you can follow to build up your frame. So the first thing is first, you must hit the gym 4 to 5 times a week, right? If you're a beginner, I recommend 3 to 4 times a week. If you're a busy professional, 3 times a week with enough intensity will do the job. But if you don't take care of your fitness, if you don't make your health a priority, you can be surprised when people look at you and they don't really respect you because you're out of shape. We respect people who are in shape. And most importantly, you're going to respect yourself, right? When you know all of those things that you have to do to get in great shape. You have to eat clean. You have to hit the gym consistently. You have to make sure that you go to sleep on time. You get quality sleep. When you know everything that you did to get this physique that you worked hard for, right? You can't buy a nice physique. You have to actually work for it in multiple areas. You are going to carry yourself different. And so with every interaction that you have, with anybody in your life, you're just gonna tolerate less bullshit from other people, right? So make sure you're hitting the gym 3 to 5 times a week. 5 times, if you're already advanced, you can do 5 times, but for most people, it's gonna be 3 to 4 times a week. Number two is optimize for testosterone. You can get a great physique just by eating all these protein snacks, by drinking protein powder, taking creatine, taking all these supplements, right? And just eating a whole bunch of foods that, if it hits your macros, what that's not gonna do for you is it's not gonna raise your testosterone. So there's no point of looking powerful, looking like you have energy, looking like you're strong, if you're actually none of those things. And that's where testosterone comes in play. You want to have a nice physique that looks dominant, but also have dominant energy. So you have clarity. You don't have brain fog. You have energy to get through the day to get shit done, right? When you speak to people, you see the way I'm speaking right now. I'm full of energy. I'm full of passion. You want to speak like that. You don't want to speak like you're tired all the time, like you just hate your life. And that's where testosterone comes into play. It makes you enjoy the process, right? So make sure you optimize for testosterone. You can do so by eating clean whole foods, cut out the processed crap. It's going to give you brain fog, low energy, and it's going to make you fat. So, what I personally do and what I advise all my clients to do is I do a 90-10 protocol. So, 90% of the time, I'm like super dialed in. I'm eating clean, single ingredient foods, right? No seed oils, no processed shit. But 10% of the time, I have whatever I want. So I may go eat out. I may go get a drink. I may go have some cake, have some dessert. Just 10% of the time, though. 90% of the time, if you stay dialed in, that 10%, you can do whatever you want. So while hitting the gym, while optimizing for testosterone, while eating clean, what I want you to do is create an image of the best version of you. So you're going to get a little journal, right? Something like this, just a little journal. You're going to title it The Best Version of Me. And on that list, you're going to list out what the best version of you actually looks like. What does he dress like? How does he speak? How does he carry himself? What type of car does he drive? Right? What type of house does he live in? What does his physique look like? What is his day-to-day routine? Okay. How much money does he make? What type of friends does he have? What type of vices does he not have? What are his hobbies? Get as specific as possible when describing the best version of you. Once you have this all written out on paper, your vision is going to be clear. That best version of you, that's you if you follow every single one of those habits that you just listed out. If you follow that routine that you just listed out, that can be you. So now it's your turn to actually move in alignment. What you're going to do is you're going to follow the habits of the best version of you. You're going to dress the way he dresses. You're going to speak the way he speaks. I didn't always dress like this. I used to wear like streetwear, big graphic designer brands on myself. And then I realized that the best version of me that I aspire to be doesn't dress like that. He dresses more classy. He dresses a little more classy with some sex appeal as well. And so I changed up my style. And that just put me in alignment with the best version of me that I have on paper. Because if you're acting the way he does, if you're dressing the way he does, if you speak the way he does, then you are literally gonna become him. There is no other choice. Make sure you move in alignment. If the best version of you hits the gym 4 times a week, make sure you're hitting the gym 4 times a week. If the best version of you eats clean foods, make sure you're eating clean foods. If the best version of you doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, make sure you cut those things out of your life. Next up is you want to get haircuts every 2 weeks. The reason for this is because something about a haircut, something about a haircut just keeps you fresh. It's like a mental recharge. For those next 2 weeks after you got your haircut, you're just feeling more positive. You're feeling more confident. You don't feel afraid to go approach that woman. You don't feel afraid to go after that opportunity. You don't feel afraid to go put yourself out there because you're more confident in the way you look. You're already dressing like the man. Now it's time to start looking like him as well. So every 2 weeks, that's like the sweet spot. Don't go over 3 weeks. That's when you just start looking too rugged. But every 2 weeks, you should be getting a haircut. So along with the haircuts, what you want to do is you want to order 1 or 2 clothing pieces every 2 to 3 weeks. A lot of guys complain like, I don't have the money, I don't have the time to go shopping. Like, I don't know how to build up my wardrobe. Listen, every 2 to 3 weeks, just go out, hit up the local mall, hit up the place in your city that has all the stores, pick out maybe one pair of pants and one shirt, right? Or just one shirt. And this is like a habit that I instilled about 2 years ago, right? I would just hit up the city and I would pick up one piece, like one polo shirt every 3 weeks. And over time, you'll see that you're actually building up your wardrobe because you don't want to do all your shopping right away. New clothes are always coming in, trends are always coming and going. There could always be something better. So the best way to stay up to date and keep your outfits fresh is to just buy one or two pieces every 3 weeks. Now, all of these are important because once again, the way that you present yourself to the world, you're going to hold yourself to higher standards. Okay. Now, last but certainly not least is eliminate your vices. You must eliminate your vices. You must quit the porn, quit the smoking, quit the drinking, binge eating. I made a whole video based on the 5 vices that every man needs to eliminate. Get rid of them all. Okay. If you have to go one by one, do that. But you will never hold yourself to the standard that you must hold yourself to if you have vices in your life. Once again, it comes down to self-respect. When you indulge in vices, you're escaping your reality. You're trying to feel better than you actually feel. And that's a problem. The masculine man tackles his problems head on. So you must quit the vices. Figure out some sort of system. Do it one by one if you have to. Get an accountability partner if you have to. Reach out to someone who's done it before. Do whatever you can because this is going to be like this is going to be single-handedly the thing that determines how far you actually go in life. There's so many rich guys, have plenty of money, but they have vices. And if you have vices, then that means there's always something that someone can control you with. Whether it's lust, they can control you with that. Whether it's food, whether it's smoking, drinking, you don't want to have anything about you that people can control you with. So eliminate your vices. Next up, emotional control. Emotions are universal, but the way that we react are not. So everyone experiences emotions, but not everyone needs to react in the same way. We all get angry, but some people choose to crash out when they're angry, and then some people remain calm. You want to be the person that just remains stoic, okay? Whether it's a positive situation in your life, whether it's negative, whether someone pissed you off, or whether they made you happy, just remain stoic. Don't dive too deep into the emotions that you're feeling. You can't discard the emotions unless you're a complete sociopath, but I'm sure that most of the guys watching this are not. So just learn to control them. So, for example, if someone disrespects you, let's say, for example, a girl disrespects you, make it known, okay? This could be your friend too. Even the slightest bit of disrespect. This is when you must catch it. Don't wait for someone to disrespect you in a major way. As soon as you see that slightest bit, that little slick comment that people make, those little jokey jokes, that's where it all starts. You teach people how to treat you, okay? So as soon as somebody disrespects you, as soon as something they said makes you feel a certain way, don't get angry. Don't get upset. Don't crash out. So just let them know, hey, I didn't appreciate that comment. Never do it again. Now, at this point, you addressed the disrespect. If they're your real friend, if it's a woman who genuinely likes you, right, then they will fix the behavior. They will not do that ever again, right? But if the behavior is continued, then you must cut them off. I don't care if it's your best friend. I don't care if it's your girlfriend of 5 years. I don't care who it is. You must cut them off because they're gonna keep testing you, and the disrespect is just gonna get greater and greater. It all starts with the little jokes, guys. Like back in high school, like people would just like play fight. Like I would just play fight with my bros, and it would always turn into some sort of like little disrespectful comments. And obviously, we were kids back then, so we just kind of like traded disrespect. But in the real world, you can't let people talk to you any sort of way. And if you really think about it, there's certain people in your life right now that you know that you can play with. You know that if you say something that might be disrespectful to them, nothing will happen. And then you know that there's certain people in your life that you wouldn't even try that shit with. You wouldn't even try to say some sort of comment like that with because you know that person has self-respect. That person has a masculine frame. So you wouldn't even try it. Having a masculine frame is all about letting people know that you're not the one to play with. You have boundaries. Obviously, not every time addressing disrespect is going to work. So, in times of potential escalation or danger, this is what you do. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Whole bunch of activities are out here, right? Whole bunch of danger all the time. People fighting, people getting into like all type of crazy stuff, right? This is what I've personally learned. I used to be the type of person that would crash out, right? As soon as I felt disrespected by a stranger, I would crash out. We would maybe fight, and it would escalate all the time. But high value men, we have things to lose. So it's not cowardice to walk away from situations that don't serve you. If you can walk away, you should. So this is what you do in possible escalation or danger. So first off, you want to react in a way that's opposite to how your antagonist expects you to. So if someone's trying deliberately to piss you off, someone's purposely like does something to try to offend you, give them the complete opposite reaction that they're expecting. It's kind of like when you were a kid and maybe like for me, I have siblings. If you have a sibling, sometimes like your sibling would try to bother you and you notice that if you don't give them the reaction that they want, you show them that you're not bothered, then they actually stop bothering you. It's the same way with the grown adults. So if they try to piss you off, make it seem like it didn't affect you at all and actually completely flip the situation. 9 times out of 10, this will de escalate the situation right there. But if it continues, if they keep it up, then let your boundaries be known. Let them know, yo, I'm not the one to play with. I appreciate you if you stop. Just let them know straight up. Okay? Now, if the disrespect continues after that, after you let them know that you're not the one to play with, then attempt to walk away, right? It's always better to walk away. You never know what someone has on them, never know what could pop out for the situation in the streets. Like shit is real out here. So it's always better to walk away. Be the bigger man, walk away. If there is no ability to walk away, or they attack you first, now you didn't hear from me, but what I'm gonna say is finish the job. Finish the job. If they put hands on you, or they're not letting you walk away and they're really escalating it to a point of no return, then you have to knock them out, right? You got to fight them. You got to stand your ground because at the end of the day, it's your life or theirs, right? You have to defend yourself. We have a right to self defense in the United States. I don't know what country you're watching this in, but over here, we have the right to self defense. And every man, having the right or not, should protect himself, should protect his family, should protect his loved ones if he ultimately has to, right? So finish the job. If you don't finish the job, there's a high likelihood that they will finish it for you. Now, next up is always lead from the front. You can't expect anything from anyone if you're not the one leading the situation. So if you want more respect from your family, your loved ones, your relationship, your girl, at work, in your business, from your employees, you must set the example. You must be the most disciplined person there. You must be the person that does everything he says that he's going to do. You must be the person that doesn't break his word. Because as soon as there's a little chink in your armor, that's when all the respect goes away. That's when your frame becomes shaky, right? You want to have a solid frame. Be the one that's the most disciplined, the most respectful, which is important. You must give respect first if you expect to have respect, right? Be the most ambitious, be the most dialed in, and don't expect anything of others. Don't expect people to be as disciplined as you, as dialed in as you, as ambitious as you, even your friends, right? Your friends may not be as ambitious as you, and that's fine, right? But set the example. If you set the example and they truly have that mindset of trying to get better, then they will follow in your footsteps eventually. If it comes down to dating, make sure that you're the one that's leading the relationship. You invite her into your reality. So live a life that a woman would actually want to be a part of, right? Be spontaneous, right? Be the one to plan the dates. Be the one to lead her. Be the one to tell her what to dress, right? How to wear her makeup, where to be at when you pick her up. You must lead from the front in dating and in business. In business, you want to focus on creating clarity and taking action, not introducing confusion. When you're at a meeting with your employees or your coworkers, you want to be the one that makes everything way more clear. After the meeting is done, after you're done speaking, people know exactly what they must do to get to where they must go. They start taking action. If you come in the meeting and you say a whole bunch of things and it's kind of like people leave more confused than they were before, then they're not really going to respect your opinion. They're not really going to respect you. So focus on providing value and creating clarity when it comes down to leading in business. Now, this is one of the most important parts. Now, when it comes down to holding a masculine frame, this is like the heart of it, right? The heart of your masculine frame, the entire backbone is your creed. Every man must have a creed, which is basically, it's like a list of, it could be a mental list, it could be a physical list, right? Of your non-negotiables, your principles, your morals, your boundaries that you do not let people cross. If you have no boundaries, you will always be tested. You will always be tested by women, by people in general. There must be certain things in your life that you're like, no, I will not tolerate this. I will stand up for this. And this makes everything so easy. Once you have a creed, life and decisions, if you think that you're someone who is indecisive, having a creed will fix that right away. You're always going to be in frame if you follow your creed, because your creed is like a rule book that you made for yourself. So, for example, some people are not willing to die over disrespect. Some people are willing to get punched in the face and they'll still walk away and not fight back, right? Maybe that's part of their creed. For other people, if someone even pushes them, then it's up, right? And then they start fighting and they're willing to literally die or go to jail over disrespect, okay? That's up to you. The way that you feel is the way that you feel. Some people are willing to die for their loved ones, and some people are not, right? Some people are willing to die over their boundaries, and some people are not. Just figure out what type of person you are, and then live in alignment with that. For me, I will try to walk away from the situations that do not serve me, but if it really comes down to it, I live as if I'm already dead. I have no problem with dying over my creed, and you shouldn't either. So get out your journal, take out a piece of paper and pen, put away your phone, and just really think about all of the boundaries that you have, the morals that you follow as a man, and all of your non-negotiables, and just write them out. Now, the one thing that really determines whether or not people respect your masculine frame is this. It's the core test. Is, are you willing to walk away from the situation? Are you willing to walk away from a bad business deal? Are you willing to walk away from a job with something that's not really in it for you? Personal or romantic relationships. Before you go into any relationship, right? Whether that be professional or personal, you must understand, what do you want out of it, right? Don't just like live your life so freely and like just do whatever. Understand, okay, I'm going to associate with this person because of this and that. I'm going to get into a relationship with this girl because of this and that. I'm going to go for this job because of this and that. I'm going to partner up with these people in my business because of this and that. Always know what you want out of it, right? And then understand that you must be willing to walk away. If your terms are not met and you're deep down not satisfied with the way things are, you must be willing to walk away, right? It needs to be in your best interest all the time. Because if that's not, then you're always going to operate from scarcity, okay? If you're at work and you ask for a raise and they deny you a raise, right? But you really need that raise and you know that you provide so much value to the company that you really deserve that raise for real, you must be willing to walk away and get another job, even if it means that you may be unemployed for a bit. You must have that backbone to leave, right? If you're in a relationship with a woman who doesn't do what you say, right? She doesn't respect you. You must be willing to walk away from that relationship. Doesn't matter if it's your wife of 50 years, right? Or your girlfriend of 5. Anything that doesn't serve your best interest, that you feel deep down inside uneasy about, you gotta walk away, or else you're gonna operate from scarcity, right? You're gonna start putting up with more bullshit and it's just gonna ruin your entire life. The willingness to walk away shows that you value yourself more than the situation. And that's what masculine frame is all about. Valuing yourself, your creed, your morals, your principles, your boundaries, your non-negotiables, more than the situation. It sounds selfish, but it's really not. Because once you value yourself, you can then value others. And then lastly, masculine frame in daily life. So when it comes down to your fitness, make sure that you're always pushing yourself to new limits, even when nobody's watching, right? You shouldn't need a crowd of people watching you work out in order for you to do your workout, right? You shouldn't need everybody to know that you hit the gym just to hit the gym, right? The work is put in when nobody's watching, okay? When it comes down to your professional life, like at work, don't be the guy that gossips. Don't be the guy that complains. Be a problem solver and lead from the front, okay? Nobody likes the guy that gossips and complains all the time. They may speak to you, right? But then when you're not around, people are talking shit about you. I guarantee that. Okay? No one really respects you if you're the guy that gossips in the office, right? That always talking about other people. Don't be that guy. Just come in there, lead from the front, solve problems, and get out. Okay? When it comes down to your social life, don't be the loudest guy in the room. And don't try to put other people down. Some people think that they raise their status by trying to put other people down. But it may seem cool and funny in the moment, which it's really not. Nobody respects that guy. Nobody genuinely likes you. And that's when you never build actual real relationships that way, right? You don't need to put other people down. Just put yourself up and bring other people up with you. And then masculine frame in dating, once again, always lead the interactions, right? And release the outcome. Like if you're on a date, just release the outcome of what may happen. Doesn't matter if she goes home with you or not. Doesn't matter if the day goes well or not. Just release the outcome and have a good time. If you have a good time, you follow your creed, everything will go according to plan. I promise. But when you obsess about the outcome, and this goes for really anything in life, that's when, once again, you start acting out of scarcity. Okay? Never do that. So that's how to hold a masculine frame in business so you don't get fucked over, and in relationships so you don't get taken advantage of. Make sure you follow this. Comment down below what was your favorite part of this and what you really resonated with in this video. And I'll see you boys in the next one. Stay dangerous.